There is a moment that weighs on the heart of an older person more than any other. It is not when you notice more grey hairs in the mirror, nor when your hands tremble and are no longer steady as they once were. It is when you sit down at the dinner table, look around and realize that one familiar chair remains empty. That chair might have once belonged to your son, who sat there telling stories about work between bites. It might have been your daughter's spot, fussing at you for not eating enough while gently passing you food. Or perhaps it was the seat of your life partner, the one who used to place a piece of fish in your bowl, reminding you to eat more soup. But now, no one sits there anymore. What remains is silence and an emptiness that chills the room. You see, the family meal has always been more than just food. It is warmth. It is laughter, small conversations, and the comfort of familiar faces. When even one person is missing, the entire flavor of the meal changes. The dishes may still be delicious. The table may still be full, but the absence makes everything taste different. A little dull, a little hollow. When I was young, every time someone was away, my mother would say, "A meal doesn't taste as good when the family isn't all here." Back then I laughed, not understanding. How could one person missing make such a difference? But as years passed, as my parents aged, and as I myself tasted loneliness, I came to see just how true her words were. Some empty chairs are temporary, a child away at college, a family member busy with work. In those cases, the elders wait with hope. They long for a phone call saying, "I'll be home this weekend." They look forward to that modest dinner filled with the richness of togetherness. That hope makes even an empty chair feel warm. But there are other chairs that remain empty forever. When someone leaves this world, the table is never whole again. I once knew an elderly woman who had lost her husband. Every evening she set the table for two, one bowl of rice for herself, another placed across from her. She said, "He may be gone, but I feel at peace setting his place. It's as though he's still here, listening to me, fighting over the last piece of fried egg." They even remember the arguments, the tears, but all of it softened. All of it bound together in the ritual of a family meal. A shared meal is more than routine. It is a ritual of belonging. People may let go of many habits, but rarely do they forget the importance of eating together on holidays, birthdays, or Sunday evenings. Because eating together is not just about filling the stomach. It is about being together, about knowing you belong. When that chair is empty, what is missing is not just a person, but a piece of the heart. I recall a 75-year-old man who had lost his wife nearly a decade earlier. Every meal, he sat in the same corner of the table and always placed an extra pair of chopsticks beside him. "I know she can't eat anymore," he told me, "but those chopsticks make me feel less alone. They remind me that I once had happy meals with her." Sometimes, a single empty chair is enough to remind us that the simplest happiness in life is just having someone to share a meal with. Someone once said, "You'll never understand the value of a family meal until you eat it in silence." And it is true. A child may not care much at the time, but when grown and far from home, they ache for those meals. The sour soup, the braised fish, the gentle voice of their mother telling them to eat slowly. And when parents grow too frail to cook, we finally realize that every family meal was a priceless gift. In today's busy world, family meals are becoming rarer. Grown children rush through their own schedules. Parents eat at their desks, kids eat at school, and by evening, everyone is too tired to sit down together. Slowly, the dinner table, the place that once bound them, falls silent. And one day, they realize it has been far too long since the family shared a meal. By then, the distance has already settled in their hearts. That is why movements like the Family Dinner Project were created in America, urging families to share meals at least a few times a week. Because meals are not just for food, They are for connection. When a parent asks, "How was school today?" When a grandparent tells an old story, when laughter spreads over a small family joke, that is nourishment for the soul that no medicine can replace. In America, a busy mother finds strength when her children chatter happily while she serves soup. For the elderly, nothing is more precious than seeing children and grandchildren gathered once more at the table. There is a saying, presence over presence. You can buy your parents the most expensive gift, but sometimes just one meal together is worth more. They may not remember the gift, but they will remember that meal, the warmth, the laughter, the simple joy of your company. So if you still have the chance to sit down for dinner with your parents or grandparents, treasure it. If you can pick up the phone and say, "I'll be home for dinner tonight," know that it is worth more than anything you could buy. Because in the end, it is not the food that fills us. It is the people sitting in the chairs around us. And when one of those chairs is empty, we are reminded that life's greatest gift is not wealth, not success, but the presence of loved ones at the table. In every family, there comes a moment no one forgets. It is the moment of the first meal when one child is missing. Americans call it the empty nest. When children grow up and leave home, perhaps for college in another state, or a new job in a distant city, parents look at the chair where their child once sat and feel a deep emptiness inside. Before that, every meal was filled with noise and laughter. A son talking about last night's basketball game, a daughter telling school stories, the whole family laughing over a silly joke. But then, one day, it all falls silent. A father takes another piece of roast chicken, realizing no one is there to fight for the breast meat anymore. A mother ladles soup and suddenly notices there's one portion too many. What is missing isn't food. It's the person who once sat there. I remember the story of a mother in Ohio with only one son. On the day he left for college, she stayed strong. She packed his bags with snacks, hugged him tightly, and waved goodbye as his car disappeared down the road. But that evening, when she sat at the dinner table and looked at his empty chair, she broke down in tears. She said, "I didn't cry when he left. I cried when I saw that empty chair. It made me realize our meals would never be complete again." For many American parents, that first empty chair marks a turning point. It signals that their child has truly grown up, stepping into an independent life. But it also reminds parents that their own old age has quietly begun. Psychologists in the United States call this feeling empty nest syndrome. Many parents, especially mothers, fall into depression when children leave home. They feel loss, loneliness, and an eerie silence in the kitchen. The evening meal, once a moment of reunion, suddenly becomes the hardest part of the day. Some families try to ease the pain with video calls. Parents sit at the table with a laptop open, watching their child eat through the screen. They share a meal, separated by thousands of miles. Yet no matter how advanced technology becomes, the empty chair is still there, a reminder of the distance between them. In American families, the first empty chair often comes when a child joins the military. On the day of departure, parents host a big meal, with relatives gathering to send the child off. A mother seeks mirrors reflecting absence. But from those first empty chairs, parents often learn a new way of loving. They send messages. "I made your favorite dish tonight. When you come home, I'll cook it again." They keep the chair, keep the bowl, as a space reserved for hope. And on holidays like Thanksgiving or Christmas, when the children return, that meal becomes the happiest one of the year. So the first empty chair is not only about loss, it is also a reminder that you have raised your child to grow strong, that they are ready to take flight. Sadness and pride intertwine in a way only parents can truly understand. There is a moving story from Texas. A father, every evening, placed an empty chair beside him at the table. His daughter was away in another state for college. He said, "This chair reminds me she is still part of this meal, even if she's not here. When she comes home, I want her to know her place has never disappeared. And indeed, when she returned for summer break and sat in that chair, she cried. She said, "I feel like I never really left." The first empty chair is a test of family love. It makes us realize the value of every meal we once shared and reminds us to cherish every meal yet to come, because one day there will be more empty chairs, and all we will have left are the memories. If you're listening to this and feel a tug of longing in your heart, think about the first empty chair in your family. Was it when your child left for school? When a loved one moved away? Or when a soldier in your family went off to serve? Share that story in the comments. And if you wish to hear more human stories like this, don't forget to subscribe to New Golden Day, because every empty chair carries a story worth telling. Some empty chairs are only temporary. Children study away from home, but they will return. Relatives are busy, but the weekend will bring them back. Yet there are chairs that, once empty, remain empty forever. Americans call this the empty chair at the table. It appears in many traditions, especially during Thanksgiving or Christmas. Because in the moments of greatest togetherness, absence is felt most sharply. Picture this: the whole family gathered around the table, the golden turkey carved. Life. When a father passes away, that first dinner with only a mother and children left is an unbearable sorrow. When a mother is gone, even the simplest dish, a roasted chicken, an apple pie, a pot of soup, tastes different. Americans often say, "It's never the same without mom's cooking." The pain is even sharper at reunions. A study after the COVID-19 pandemic found that more than 60% of Americans who lost loved ones felt family meals became the hardest moments. Because when everyone gathered, they remembered most the ones who were gone. One empty chair could awaken a flood of memories, a laugh, a favorite dish, a story told countless times. I recall a story from California. A woman, 78, lost her husband after 50 years together. Since then, she has always set the table for two. 2 bowls, 2 pairs of chopsticks. She said, "I know he can't eat anymore, but I can't eat alone. He's still here in every meal." It wasn't denial. It was her way of keeping the memory, of holding on to the feeling of companionship. For the elderly, meals are not just about the present. They are bridges to the past. Many American families hold memorial dinners. They cook the favorite dishes of the departed, leave an empty chair, sometimes place a photo or a glass of wine at the table. They eat together, share stories, cry, and laugh, because they believe that when the family gathers, the spirit of their loved one is there too. But the most painful part of a forever empty chair is not the first day. It is the days after. Ordinary dinners, when parents sit without the child they lost. Holidays, when laughter is quieter without grandparents' voices. That emptiness does not go away. It sits there, etched into the heart. American psychologists often say, "Grief sits with you at the dinner table," and it does. Every empty chair is a reminder, but it also teaches us never to take presence for granted, because only when it is gone do we realize that every meal, every moment of sitting together, was priceless. Some older people say they don't fear eating less or eating simply. What they fear is eating alone. The pain doesn't come from hunger, but from absence. Laugh. We tell stories, thinking there will be many more. And then one day, we discover that chair is empty forever. Americans have a saying, "We don't remember days, we remember moments." The last meal is one of those moments, the kind that lingers for a lifetime. A mother in Texas once said her last dinner with her husband was nothing more than chicken soup and a piece of bread. What she remembers is not the flavor, but the way he looked at her, smiled, and said, "Thank you. It's delicious." That simple phrase became a treasure in her heart after he was gone. An elderly man in Pennsylvania lost his son in a car accident. The night before, they had dinner together, his son talking about work between bites. The man said, "If I had known it was the last meal, I would have hugged him longer. I would have told him how proud I was. But the truth is, we never know which meal will be the last. And that is why every meal we share today can become tomorrow's most precious memory." In America, many families pray before meals. They hold hands, bow their heads, and give thanks, not only for the food, but for being together. That simple act carries a deep message. A meal is not guaranteed. It is a gift. And one day, when someone is missing, we will understand it more than ever. Science shows that meal memories are uniquely powerful. Smells, sounds, and sights are etched into the brain. Research at the University of California found that older adults recall family meals more vividly than many other details of life. Every shared meal leaves a memory imprint we carry for years. But the last meal also serves as a reminder to the younger generation. Do not wait until you see a forever empty chair to regret. Do not think, "There will be another time," only to realize the chance has slipped away. The elderly do not wish for grand feasts. They only long for a simple meal, with laughter and presence. In American culture, Thanksgiving and Christmas often drive this truth home. Families travel thousands of miles just to sit together at one table. They know that missing one gathering may mean that next year, the chair may no longer be filled. A woman in New York said after her mother passed away, "I used to be so busy that I often declined her dinner invitations. Now I would trade my entire career for one more evening at the table today and look into the faces of your loved ones. You hold one of life's rarest treasures. Do not take it for granted. Cherish it, because tomorrow that chair may be empty." And if this story has touched your heart, don't forget to subscribe to New Golden Day. Here, we remind each other that life after 60 is not about numbers or achievements. It is about love, memory, and the meals we share, the place where we truly belong.